All right, everyone, welcome back inside here. We're going to move on with our next speaker just in a moment. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the farm tour. I certainly did, and there were a lot of excellent questions. So thanks to Jim, Leslie, and Laura for that. And Jim, our driver as well. All right, so speaking next on your path to farm diversification and from idea to business plan is Teresa Shaver. And so I will turn it over to her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon. So as Mitch said, my name is Teresa Shaver. I'm the manager of the Business Advisory Centre Durham. We are Durham Region's small business centre. There's 54 of us in Ontario, and we work with businesses that are wanting to start, wanting to grow, sell, or buy a business. So we've been in operation for 27 years and have been working with all kinds of businesses, including many farms. Are you happy with this? Okay. So just to tell you a little bit about our services, the bulk of our work is one-on-one with a business, with anybody that's wanting to start, grow, buy, or sell a business. And so it means different things for each business. So for some people, it's something as simple as how do I set up my Google business profile? And for someone else, it's how do I get set up on QuickBooks? Or how do I understand my financials or register for the CRA or understand zoning and bylaws and all of that sort of stuff. By no means do we know everything with that, but we work with the entrepreneur and the business owner to really build their roadmap for what they need in their to-do list for their business. And so looking at the business holistically. We also run over 150 different workshops a year that are all around business topics that businesses need to know about. We have a few networking events, we have a couple of grant programs, and then we also run some paid programs. And we're here in Durham Region, so we're here to support this thriving business culture here in Durham. I did mention a little bit, our services are free to Durham Region businesses. You would work with certified business advisors. The work that we work together on is confidential, and we help you build that plan for your business. So today, one of the other things that we are very proud of is that we run a celebration of Global Entrepreneurship Week called Do It in Durham, and it's over 30 to 50 events that happen every year in November, and there's over 3,000 people that attend. And it's a whole bunch of different kinds of events like trade shows, fireside chats, webinars, seminars, all the businessy stuff, networking events. And it's a great opportunity if you're looking to network, meet other people, work with other people, find investors, find opportunities. It's a great week to celebrate. So November the 16th is when that's going to happen. So today's presentation is going to really be about validating the market demand, seeing if there's a feasible idea here that you might have that has legs, that's going to work. You can make money out of this, and that it's going to work on your farm. So we're going to go through these 5 steps. We're going to define the target market. We're going to look at what research means. We're going to look at analyzing the research data, testing, and then quantifying that. So you are going to get a copy of this presentation. And I also did put on your tables, I put a business plan canvas, which is something we love to use with our clients. It's a business plan on one page, but the work that goes into that is pretty substantial. And you use it for the different business ideas you have. So you might have an idea for a market, you might have an idea for an art studio. You can use it for all those ideas because the point of it being a canvas is that you can change and iterate. So you can try new things on that canvas with your business idea. So when we look at the different types of on-farm diversified uses, I'm going to break them down to ideas of what you could be doing. So retail and markets, I think you all know that you rely on foot traffic. You rely on people being impulse buyers. Customers are expecting convenience and fair pricing. And really the key question here for you is will people stop, browse, and buy regularly? And then what do you have to look for? So as I said, you're going to get a copy of this because I'm not needing to read all of this to you, and I'm between you and your lunch. So What are the other things you need to know if you're looking at retail or you're looking at markets? We're really trying to figure out what pricing structure we're going to have. What spending behavior are we looking at from our potential customers? What's the competition in the market that you're in? How saturated is it with the idea? What's the location and the traffic patterns? And what's the product mix and the different trends that might be in the market that you're looking in, if that makes sense? Please feel free to ask any questions if you wish as I go through this. But when we're looking at research and conducting research, ideally it's primary market research, which is the people that are potential customers or potential buyers that you are looking for. And that's the hardest part to find, because those could be us in this room that you now have to interview and ask questions about. I'm thinking of starting this kind of business, or I'm thinking of adding this service line, this product line, or this to my business. And I need to know if it's going to work. And so this is honestly the most challenging part of market research. Secondary research is easy. You can look on, agricultural websites. You can look on ChatGPT. You can look at industry data. You can look at things that already exist that's out there. But it's the speaking to people who could be your potential customer that's really going to give you that idea if your business is going to work or the idea that you have is going to work. So that's where you need to spend a little bit of time and effort to do it, especially if you're going to invest a significant amount of your time, energy, and money into diversifying your use of your farm. You want to do your homework on this part so that you, for the most intention possible, have a chance of succeeding. Some other ideas you might have is food services. And when it comes to food services, this is one of the most challenging actually to do, because customers have such a high expectation for food and for the experience that they're going to have, right? And really here you want to know, are your customers going to travel to come to your farm, and will they come back again? Most of these businesses rely on repeat visits, right? So we can have some tourism where we have maybe external tourism, but we actually also need internal tourism, people from our region coming out all the time. So this is another, and this also is impacted by the season, it's impacted by weather, it's impacted perhaps by the zoning and bylaws or the Durham Region Public Health Department, like having all the licenses and permits that you need to run this business. So generally makes it a lot more complicated. And it's also complicated because many times you're working with products that expire. And so then that adds an extra level of complexity to the business. And then when you're looking at ideas of, okay, well, how do I think through this? The menu makes a difference because it's, impacts where you buy your food. It impacts the price. It impacts whether you buy things, sell things in bulk. You would then want to look at the actual potential customers. What's the potential for them to come back? How do you look and see what your competition is up to? And how do you differentiate yourself? Because we have to stand out in the market for people to see why to come to us, right? And then the location and the willingness to travel. So these questions that I've put on here are sort of guides for you to decide what are the things I need to know so that I know that I'm making the right decisions on my business and the right decision with whatever products or service I'm bringing into the business. In terms of experiences, here we're looking at we have them. We have lavender farms, we have sunflower farms. Those are experiences, or visiting animals. These are what people are really looking for today. Thanks to TikTok and Instagram, everyone's looking for this kind of experience, particularly in the summer months, right? Which is great, but what can we do for the rest of the year as well that draws people here? And really, again, it's the same thing. Well, customers travel. For you, when you start looking at, if you want to put on an experience, what's happening in the area around you? What are your competitors doing? What are other farms doing? Maybe if not in Durham Region, outside of Durham Region. It's just such a great way for you to find out information that could inform what you do in your business plan. We want to look at things like, are people willing to pay? Again, it's the story of repeat versus one-time business visits. So if you think of products that we buy, unfortunately, machinery now has built-in obsolescence for a very good reason, because that's repeat customers. And, if a washing machine lasted 30 years, then the business wouldn't do as well. So we have to think of our own business that way as well. How do we incent people to come back and to buy over and over again? And if we can't have that type of business where we can incent them, then what are we doing to draw new businesses over and over? I have a client like that, actually. His business is, and he doesn't mind me talking about it, Alari Technologies. He's the only Apple authorized service dealer in Durham Region. And his Macs don't die. They last for 10 years. You don't have to do anything with them. There's no service plans on them. And so what does he have to do? He can't just look after the Durham region. His market is actually Northumberland, half of the GTA. He's marketing to himself to business Apple networks. He's focusing on different markets. So it just means that his marketing plan and his, attraction campaign has to be much larger. So it's not that you can't do it. You just have to think about what's that going to cost your business, right? In terms of experiences, we talked about social media demand. So all of these are just ideas of you to think about. If you're starting to look at other ideas, what are the things I need to be considerate of? You might want to have some creative spaces or places where people can come and take photos and create experiences. So, again, are people willing to come and attend a workshop and be on your location? What are the amenities you have in your location if people are coming? Do you have nice washrooms? Do you have an easy space for people and children and families? And what types of classes are popular? So looking at things like that, and then what to look for. So again, a lot of this is about looking at what's already in the market. And if it's not in the market, then that's where your primary research is really going to matter, because you haven't got anything to compare it to. Again, we look at the same things of, are they willing to pay? Is it consistent? Is there a demand? What's the competition doing? And what's the experience or the environment that you want to have? Today, I mentioned that everybody's interested in experiences. Even think of yourself as a consumer. What are you looking for when you are going to spend your money locally, or you're going to support a local business? Or what are the expectations that you have? If you're going to a restaurant, if you're going to Slabtown Cider, if you're going to Second Wedge, what are the expectations that you have as a consumer? Because it's very likely that you are like most consumers, and there are very specific expectations that people have when it comes to these types of things. You might be interested in accommodations, so what do customers expect? Have a look. This is somewhat generic, customers expect comfort and cleanliness and an experience, but if it's off-grid or if it's a glamping or just a camping situation, people might have very different expectations. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you want to make sure that you place your offering where the expectations are, so that your business has a chance of making money and having success. I mean, you're getting into this for that reason, I would hope, right? We are looking to make more profit or make more money and to diversify what we can do on our farms. Think about, seasonal demand will for sure impact your occupancy. So many times when we work with our clients and they have a seasonal business, we really look to see how we can take that to 4 seasons for them, because it just lessens the stress level of trying to get everything done in a short season. What are things to look for? You can look, say, accommodations. If you were thinking of having something on your farm, having a look either at VRBO or Airbnb and looking for what's in your area, because you can look with a map. So you can see calendars, you can see pricing, you can see the different weekdays, you can see what the experience is. I mean, you probably could even book and go and stay on the farm and see what the experience is like. You want to look at things like demand and occupancy, and again, what's the revenue potential for you as a business owner? Sorry, I'm not looking to the right too much because I'm running into the headset. What are your customers' expectations? When you're doing your research, what do the reviews tell you? And what can you see from looking at the reviews? Do any of you read your competitors' reviews? So what's good about reading the reviews is you find out sometimes what people are looking for in there. You can see gaps in the service that they might be delivering, and you can often find that information in the reviews. You can find it on their Facebook page if customers are commenting. You can get a lot of information from that. So all this to mean is that you want to search for this local data. And so where can you find it? The best place is similar businesses and observing or buying something from that, or attending an art show if there's one on the farm, or doing one of the experiences. It's probably one of your best ways to figure out if this is something that you can do. Definitely talk to real potential customers or real customers. So even if you're at these events, can you talk to people that are there and ask them questions? Review your competitors as I said in their pricing. Look at what the customers are saying. Check their social media. There is a ton of information out there today that like 15 years ago we did not have access to, and it's free now. You can find it online. There's definitely local directories you can be part of. There's tourism insights. So Durham Tourism has a lot of information as well on their website. Local county, what's it called? Central County Tourism also have a lot of insights and data. The Federation of Agriculture has a lot of data you can look at. So all that secondary data, again, just underpins, yes, I'm moving in the right direction, or yes, I'm making the right decision to go in this format. It's just like if we get a business who says, I'd like to start a magazine, I'm like, let's just do some research first and see who's going to want to be in the magazine, who's going to pay for the advertising, how are you going to distribute it? Because as it stands right now, magazines aren't doing that great. Some are, but not all. Test before you build. So part of that canvas is for you to actually test and play around with who are the channels, how am I going to market myself? What is my go-to market strategy? Who are the customers that I'm going to focus on? What do I know about them? So part of that is testing before you build your full solution or your full product suite out there and spend a ton of money building whatever it is that you're doing to start something. Rather test it before you build. So however you can do that. If you can't do that on your farm, can you rent a place that you can do it? Can you host pop-ups, or can you sell tickets to something? Can you try it out? So I've had this happen a few times actually. I have clients who are in the floral business, and they rented a farmers market area and ran the workshops there for 6 months first before they decided to really get into it and then get their own space. Maybe partner with an existing business if that's possible. Is it a business that can be complementary to yours so that you can partner together? So then you're going from your idea really to building a business plan. Now, you don't need a business plan that's 60 pages long, but you need a plan that says, I actually did some market research and I looked at like what the viable opportunity was going to be. I looked at how I would market and find those customers. I looked at the financials, and you planned out the whole thing. So it doesn't need to be full of depth, but it needs to be, who am I serving? Do I have proof that people are going to pay? Do I have proof how much they're going to pay and what my pricing structure is going to be? Do I know what the costs are that are involved in starting this? And what my tests tell me? What did my the market surveys, or if you do focus groups, what did that data tell me about this opportunity, right? Because that's the foundation of the plan. If we can't find if we can't find people that want to buy this, then we really need to go back to the beginning and keep trying to find people that will buy this idea and will invest in it. Your friends and family are going to love you and going to say, yes, I think this is a great idea. But we need to rely on people beyond our friends and family. I can't tell you how many clients have said, my friends and family told me it was such a great idea, but they're not buying from me. I said, because they love you and they're not necessarily going to buy from you, but they're going to support you. But what's that support going to be? Well, they're not even sharing it on my social media. I'm like, but they don't want to be shilling somebody else's business sometimes. So, get it from the people who are actually going to buy from you. What I have on your tables is this business plan canvas, and it goes through these 5 sections. So this is an adaptation of the business model canvas from Alex Osterwalder. It's a very well-known canvas that everybody uses in the startup business world. But really, this lets you look at your business in one place, and it forces you to think through the ideas before investing a ton of money. That helps highlight the gaps, risks, or if there's any unknowns that you don't know. It helps you find those now before you stick a lot of money down this train. And it also turns your idea into a simple canvas, because once you answer these pieces, you build out your canvas. So the one that you have has got a lot of questions on it. And those questions are really for you to think about. I'm the entrepreneur, or I'm the business owner. What is my idea? What's my vision for the business? What's the mission that we have to do this? Now, you've heard this before. Vision and mission, isn't that just for corporate companies? Well, really, the vision and the mission is about what do I foresee for the future for me and my farm or my employees? And the mission is what I'm doing every day to get there. But those two affect every single decision you make in your business. So if you're going to be a lifestyle business and run art workshops on the weekend, it's a very different than if you're going down the road of starting a food experience or accommodation business. So there's nothing wrong with either one of those. It's just that the decisions you are making for your business are heavily impacted by what you think you see and what you think you're going to do for that business every day. So once we look at who we are as the business owner and the farm or the organization and the idea, then we look at the market. And one of the things you'll go through is a SWOT analysis or a SOAR analysis, really, which is looking at what are my strengths, what are the opportunities, what are my aspirations, what could be the threats or the risks to me starting this kind of business. And again, that's good to do, because if there are threats, if there are risks, then okay, I think these are risks for me. How will that impact my business? How will that impact the money I'm going to invest in it? What are the things that I can do to work around those? And again, when you have the knowledge, you're just forearmed to be able to reach the levels or the goals that you have for your business. Then we look at your company goals, your value proposition. This is like what makes you different. How are you unique in some ways? What are the things that you do that's different to other people? Or what are the special things that make you popular that people want to support or buy or invest in your business? We look at the go-to marketing strategy then. So this is, again, how much money do you need to plan your business? Just like I mentioned, my tech company, he needed to have a lot more money in his marketing plan than someone who could service all PCs in Durham Region. So nothing wrong with either one. It's just makes decisions for you in a different way. So it's kind of your contingency planning, right? Then we look at your financial strategy. So, it's your pricing. It's the costs of what you're going to deal with if you are running your business. What's the costs that are in there? And then we look at marketing and sales strategy. Then we get to the yellow piece, which is all about the operations of the business. So in our yellow piece, we have from the side here, key activities and key players. So the key activities are like what revenue streams, what activities you will be doing to generate revenue for your business. And the key players would be who are the partners or the players or the people I need in the business to make this run. If you're running a farmer's market, you're going to need people in the field to be producing the product. You're going to need someone to be, listen, I don't know enough about the whole process, but you're going to need people to get that product to the market for you. So who are those people you need? You're going to need technology. You're going to need marketing help. So those are without those, your business can't work. Then we look at the customer segment. So the different types of customers you will have inside your business. So a customer could be someone who's coming regularly, could be another farmer, but another customer could be external tourism, people coming from other regions to come here to experience your business. So it's a different market of customers. It's different messaging sometimes, different offers that you would have. Like at BACD, we have startup customers and we have growth customers. The messaging to both of those are two different types of messagings. So to startup, it's about how do you be relatable and help them. And I'm here to help you every step of the way. But for growth customers, it's a totally different conversation and going deeper into their business. So it means you need to just know who those customers are so that you market and put the offers in the right place. When we look at customer relationships, this means what type of relationships do you want with your customer? I'll give you a simple example. An online relationship is, you're buying online, it's a transaction. Is it face-to-face? A face-to-face relationship costs more than an online relationship. So that affects your revenue streams and affects the costs that you have in your business as well. Channels are what channels are you going to use to market your business or to get your product or service to your customers? So of course, digital is one of those, but traditional in-person is another channel. Another channel could be, these are marketing channels, but also sales channels, if you think of it that way. So again, thinking about what channels would you use to market and sell your business? And then we get to growth. My apologies for this. Had to have it over my ears, eh? Then we want to look at the growth opportunities for you. And that would mean, what am I looking at 5 to 10 years? I don't know that most businesses plan that far in advance anymore. Most of us are planning like 1 to 3 years with the VUCA world that we're living in, a volatile, uncertain, chaotic is what that means, And then last is the assessment, which is what are the key metrics or OKRs or KPIs, whatever you want to call them. What are the key things that I need to know that I'm on the right track with my business? It's one thing that it's sales, but underneath sales, you got to take off the costs of everything. It depends on the cost of the goods. It depends on so many different factors. So you want to look at what are the key metrics that are going to tell me that I'm making the right decisions, that the buying behavior is there, that I'm building profitability in the business. So quickly just explaining the canvas to you, but there's a lot that goes into that. It is literally a full business plan when you're finished with it, but this is part of what you need to first do if you want to do your homework and know in your gut that your business is going to work or that the idea that you have to expand is going to work. Many of us don't want to do this part because it's challenging, but it will be the best time you ever spend. Then you want to calculate your financial feasibility. So here you want to look at your startup costs. You want to estimate how much money you can realistically make. You're going to calculate what those ongoing costs are. We can find most of the stuff out in the community online. You can find these sorts of pricings and things that you need to know because you want to figure out how many customers do you need to where you get to the break-even point. So break-even's good because you're not losing money, but you're also not making money. So it's good to know that number and then strive to go beyond it. And then plan for the what-ifs. As I mentioned earlier, what do we do? What are our contingency? What are the plans we have if things are not going the way we want them to go? Some common pitfalls. Of course, I'm going to put market validation right at the top. I have built some of my own businesses where I didn't do market research, and I'm not in them anymore. Funny that. The saying, we will build it, they will come, really that was meant for the movie. It wasn't meant for real business. And I know so many of us use it because we also want to be optimistic and believe that we can manifest. And I love positive optimism, and I certainly believe in that, but do your validation first to make sure that what you've built, they're going to come for. Many underestimate the cost of the business, and many overestimate the profit they're going to make. So I get to look at many business plans every year. Most people, 50 to 100% overestimate their sales. And most people underestimate the costs for their business. So many of them think that they're going to be profitable in a year or 2 years, and it's only in year 5 that they're profitable. So what are you going to do until you get to year 5 to run your business? And some of you already know this. You're in business. Has it been easy? But would you have it any other way? Maybe, maybe not. My husband's in his own business. He says the same thing. I'm too old to quit now. I'm keep going, But proceeding without a business plan just leaves us not knowing for sure. And it's not that, as I said, I'm not a fan necessarily of a 60-page business plan, but just having done the work to work through these different pieces to make sure for the best extent possible that you know what you're getting yourself into. Some people overlook the public health requirements or the zoning requirements or the municipal requirements. They are there. They are there to protect us and to protect our consumers. And, whether we like it or not, we have to play within our limits that we have. So your next 30 days, I'd love to suggest, depending on where you are, start having those market validation conversations. Look at financial modeling and calculations. I have financial templates if you need. Connect with us at BACD and Invest Durham if we can help you move forward with this. We are working with quite a few local farmers right now with their business plans. And again, it just gives you a really good place to start from to build something that's hopefully going to be successful. So your next steps, as I said, please, if you can, we go through a 2-hour workshop on this business plan canvas that we gave you. So you are welcome to attend one of our workshops coming up. Our services, as we said, are free, and I'll stop there and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. I know, but just one bite at a time. Lunch? Yeah.
Folks help with any succession planning as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Actually, it's just a new service that we've brought in. So we're right in the middle of doing the training. So we're being trained at Queen's University, but we are going through the process of building roadmaps for people that are either buying a business or selling and exiting. So it is a 3 to 5 year journey, though. It's not just, I'll sell next week. Yeah.
Any other questions? I can bring the mic around.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, there's one there. So the one-on-one meetings, yes. So if you just email bacd@durham.ca, we send out the links to each advisor. And so then you can pick what time works for you. Yeah, good. My pleasure. Yeah.
I hate to ask it. What about business babies? Do you have a rate though? Businesses that rate?
They say in Canada, I looked at a statistic yesterday, actually 71% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. So it is high. And in 5 years, it's even higher. But part of what we're here to do, hopefully, is to stop that from happening by doing the market validation. And even still, you can do the market validation and sometimes it doesn't work out. And sometimes it does. Then you have to do one of my favorite words, you have to pivot. And, you know, we all remember that word so well. You have to pivot and find something else that's going to work, right? And again, sometimes businesses fail because they stop believing in themselves. And because they stop believing in themselves, they stop doing the marketing and the networking and the things that they need to do. And then it's like a momentum in the wrong direction. So sometimes it's like, think of business as being an athlete. You know, an athlete has to know what they're eating, know what their drills are, know what their goals are, know where they're going with their business, and you keep cycling. You don't stop, because if you stop, you fall over. And so sometimes it's those reasons why businesses fail. You know, they haven't validated their market enough. They don't know really who their customer is. And that's quite common sometimes. It's not always easy to find out, right? And a lot of that you find out in the trenches while you're trying to make sales. You're figuring out who your customer is. I'm sure most of you can even attest to that. When you started out, sometimes in business, you think your customer is this, and 6 months later, it's this person. It's somebody totally different. But I mean, that's what makes business exciting, right? Because you're being creative, you're using your brain, you're problem solving, you're flying by the seat of your pants, you're learning just in time. Like, that's what makes business exciting and fun, is because it's changing all the time, you know? And that's another thing, you just don't have it all today, and you never will. So you will continually learn and continually have to change and adapt to the market, adapt to people. Consumers are changing. Because we are changing, our needs are changing, and that makes a difference. Our market, our retail, everything is changing. So it's an exciting time. I mean, you can look at it like, oh, hell, but rather just, it's an exciting time. So much fun to come. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Good.
Thanks very much for that presentation, Teresa, and the Q&A. I hope that many here will be able to benefit from the advice and tips. it really was important to have this presentation, have you here today. Some things that Teresa presented on may seem obvious, may seem intuitive, but there are a lot of farms that get quite a ways down the road towards starting an on-farm diversified use, or having some pretty grand plans for what they want to do, and some of the work that you can do ahead of time that Teresa spoke to can really, at an early stage in the planning process, tell you whether or not your idea is a good one, and perhaps most importantly, whether it's likely to be profitable or not. And with the cost of doing anything these days, starting an on-farm diversified use, knowing whether you could actually make money at it is a huge piece of the puzzle. And if you can make money, it makes everything else easier going forward. So thanks very much, Teresa.